So, without further ado, I'm absolutely delighted to introduce our guest speaker today. Georgiana George is a local therapist and life coach who regularly helps clients turn negatives into positives and put past problems behind them. We're really grateful that she's taken time from her busy schedule to be with us today. Thank you for joining us today, Georgiana. Perhaps you could start by telling us
Thank
what a life
you.
coach is and what problems a life coach helps to solve.
Morning, Matt. Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me over. It's a privilege, and I'm very happy to share with you my techniques for coping with various issues that we're all facing in today's world, more so than ever. So, what is the life coach? A life coach is different than a psychotherapist. A psychotherapist, it's a bit more clinical idea notion as to discovering the problems that we have within ourselves, listening to our worries, and putting a diagnosis on it. A life coach is someone who helps us identify the goals within ourselves, the wishes, the patterns of wrong behavior that have a great impact on our daily lives, doing it in a more gentle way. Perhaps I would say allowing almost on the basis of a good rapport, a good friendship, I would say, with the client. A life coach can identify the our true potential, our true self, and our goals, what really we would want to do in our lives, in our daily work, in our daily existence, and then setting up a goal scheme. So building up that way forward, but doing it in a very gentle way. Also, I'm a strong believer that a life coach allows the uh, client to download. It's a very important part of the process of being able to download as a client, be true as possible. The more true you are with yourself and with your life coach, the more the life coach can actually get involved and participate in building up your self-esteem or confidence or eliminating your worries and finding the way forward to attain your best true potential. Not only to download is important, but it's very important for a life coach, more so than a psychotherapist. Not that I'm trying to minimize the role of a psychotherapist. Many times a psychotherapist can do the clinical assessment and they can actually prescribe medication, which a life coach will not get involved in. A life coach is a more gentle approach to one, finding those issues that set them back, stop them from advancing or being kinder to themselves and to the world around them, but also giving them the structure forward. So it is not only by listening to the problems of a client, but also bordering a little bit on mentorship. So mentorship is like giving the way forward, advising them and finding the best solution to go forward, not allowing the client only to wallow into their own thoughts or into talking about their past or about their present. Downloading is not enough, in my opinion. Many people nowadays not only need to download, which is a very important factor to be able to download, but also to be able to find the way forward, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and actually find the techniques that you need, that the client needs to apply to go forward and see a shift in their lives. Many of us, we go to a therapist or to a psychotherapist, we talk about our problems, but we also want to find the way forward. And as human beings, we want everything immediate. So we really want to see that shift. We really want to feel that there is a change for the better in a very short span of time. I'm a strong believer that a life coach can actually identify these issues. Um, it's pretty much, if I were to find an analogy, A life coach detects those issues within ourselves that are not so easily seen by the naked eye. If we have, for example, a problem with in the kitchen with a plumbing problem, we call a plumber. If we have a problem with our tooth, it's an obvious problem, we go to a dentist. If we have problem in the community, we go to a police. If there's a problem on the streets of London, this is quite obvious. But those undetected problems within each one of us, and I mean each one of us, say self-confidence or self-worth, or dealing with negative patterns of behavior or negative patterns of thinking. These are the unseen enemies of our true self. Maybe someone wants to find a direction in life, wants to find the best career, or maybe someone wants to find out why they're not so easily likable, why they can't form good, healthy relationships, and they go into wrong relationships every one time. A life coach gently finds the problem, the core of the problem. In my belief, problems stem from our childhood. Most of us are formed by what we experience in our childhood. And 99% of my cases that come to me have got issues originating within their families, as close as that. Because we do not come into this world as damaged souls or damaged people. We do not come here with fears and worries. We do not come here with problems of self-confidence. We develop these, and they're not the reality. They are our thoughts about what the reality is around us. So it's mainly our thought process that we have built throughout our youth. That's where we start to build our personalities. Before the age of 7, we've already been attacked by various factors in our life. Funny enough, I find more and more that it is mainly from home, as close as that, moms and dads. Why would we say moms and dads are so imperatively important to our journey? Because we look up to them, because we take on board their positive or negative feedback, and because parenthood is not an easy process. So many of the parents have got problems of their own. They deal with work, they don't have the money, they have to secure tomorrow, they're too busy within their own lives. And we as children, if we have a problem, we have a problem at school, or we fall off the bike and we scrape our knees and we come home crying. Many of those instances when parents do not have the time or do not have the understanding, or they just send you back to your room, we take them as we're not good enough. That's a very, very interesting point to take on board. We build this not good enough idea from as early as the age of 2, 3, 4. And by the time we get to 7 and 8, we do not know how to deal with rejection. And the first rejection we interpret as being a big rejection is mom and dad not giving us a hug, a cuddle, not expressing love. Now, are those parents to be guilty? Are those parents to be blamed for that? Not really. They know no better. They deal with life as best as they can. And it is not necessarily because they don't care, they don't love us, but it is just, they live in very, very tumultuous lives. And they, many a time, do not see the depth of their actions impacting onto our, self-esteem, for example. And a lot of my clients develop this self-worth from very young age. They also blame themselves for not being likable enough or lovable enough if mom or dad is not there for them. Or there is an issue with maybe one of the parents going through mental problems or depression or anxiety. There are parents that are constant worriers. They didn't have therapy. They didn't know how to deal with it. So when those parents are downloading onto the children, or they have discussions amongst themselves in the family, that impacts heavily on the child. These issues will only come and rear their heads into the late teens, early 20s, maybe even late 20s or even late 30s, I will have clients reach out to me and say, well, why doesn't my relationship work? Why is it that I constantly am on the go and trying to find a better partner, a better boyfriend, girlfriend, or even a wife or husband? Well, when we go very deep and we analyze each individual, it's irrelevantly coming down to their own relationship with their parents. So it is their self-worth. And if someone doesn't find their self-worth when they're young, they develop this constant need to please the world, please others, but themselves. They constantly want to have approval of society, approval of their friends. And that's when they go into wrong patterns of behavior and wrong
Yes.
patterns of thinking.
Fascinating. I particularly like the aspect and the importance of identifying goals and putting structures in place so that people then can reach their full potential, of course, with the help of mentors wherever possible. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Georgiana.